Hello there, welcome to Splodge Apologetics. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about fear. We, as people, we fear different things for different reasons. We might be afraid of the dark, afraid of heights, afraid of closed spaces, afraid of open spaces. We might be afraid of certain animals, spiders, as small as they are. A lot of them are called phobias. For instance, a fear of spiders is called arachnophobia. Criminals are usually fearful most of getting caught. They'll wear masks and really heavily disguise themselves so they don't get recognised when they are doing an armed robbery, terrorism or something like that. They're not afraid of God because of the very fact that they're doing what they're doing, harming or stealing from other people, but they're more fearful of being caught by the police or being recognised by friends, relatives, ex-victims of theirs. Some are even prepared to go to prison again and again because prison is no longer a deterrent. It's so comfortable in prison, and some would rather be in prison than be with their families and their communities because they're not trusted where they are. Sin is breaking the law. It's rebellion against society. It's especially rebellion against God. It's missing the mark. It's like a kind of hypocrisy. You want to be known in the community, but you're doing things that are against the community. But God is the one we should fear, because even after punishment in prison, you're still observed by God. He sees everything you do, not just the act of doing something criminal. He sees that you're thinking about it. Just as you're thinking that you hate someone so much that you want them dead, or if you're lusting so much after someone that you want to violate them, it's all in God's sight, and He hates sin, because especially as He has provided a way, the solution to sin. What does the Bible say about fear? Let's look first at Proverbs chapter 29, verse 25, and that says, "The fear of man lays a snare, and whoever trusts in the Lord is safe." Don't seek to please man. We know that doing criminal things isn't pleasing man, but don't seek to please him in doing well. Seek to please God. Don't let anyone put you under their spell, be your big influence, be a manipulator or blackmail you or even control you, whether it be verbally, physically or psychologically. Don't let anyone do that to you. Some people have been in horrible relationships like that, where they've been manipulated by their partner for whatever reason. It's called domestic abuse, and there are all kinds of abuses going on in the world, unfortunately. But God sees it all, and He is just, and He will punish all those things. Know God's word and be humble before God. In your dealing with people, be humble before God, not man. We can be confident in God before man. We can be humble with those that we know we can trust and that we know will do us no harm. And we shouldn't be humble before Him, but we should also be alert. Humble doesn't mean be unsubject and I'm a worm or anything like that, or say I'm nobody, I'm trash, and I allow myself to be treated like it. Knowing that you are trusting in His righteousness. That is true humility. And we can be confident and humble at the same time. Confidence in our God. And then if we go back a page in Proverbs, it says in 28:14, it says, "Blessed is the one who fears the Lord always, and whoever hardens his heart will fall into calamity." Now, Moses was a man who was known as the most humble man on the earth at his time. And he was not very confident before God when he met God. But once he knew that God was the great I am, and he was told to go in the confidence of I am, so that he could prove to his fellow Israelites that he'd heard from the true God. He could go before Pharaoh. Pharaoh was arrogant and proud. He thought he was a god, and he was resistant. He didn't want to relinquish his power over the Israelite slaves that he had. Moses came to deliver them. Well, God was delivering them. Moses was a tool, an instrument to go before Pharaoh and tell him, if you don't let my people go, you'll be punished. He brought 10 plagues over all of Egypt, but the Israelites didn't suffer the plagues. And I'm sure that all the Egyptian people, when they were suffering these plagues, they kept going on to Pharaoh, come on, you might as well let them go, because we can't stand all this suffering. And obviously Pharaoh didn't like suffering either, until his own son was killed. The last plague was the death of the firstborn. And after that, he let them go. But even then, he was reluctant and still went chasing after the Israelites after they left Egypt. But he hardened his heart against Moses and against all that was going on against Egypt. God hardened his heart, but he hardened his own heart. He was so angry, he went chasing after the Israelites. And God let him live to see all his army destroyed in the Red Sea as Israel escaped through the sea, and his own army just drowned in there as the waters of the Red Sea came back, all because he hardened his heart and was stubborn and wouldn't submit to God. And whoever does not submit to God will bow down. Every knee shall bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, because he is the way to salvation and to eternity. Proverbs 1 verse 7 says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. God created the universe. He runs it and he keeps it going. We can be confident in that, because in the universe there are over 100 constants that if we were any nearer to the sun, we'd burn, fry. If we were any further away, we'd freeze and perish. Either way, we perish, but God has placed us exactly where we should be. And all the planets and stars are aligned exactly where they should be, just for you and for me, so that we can acknowledge that he is God. All these people talking about evolution claim to have a wisdom which is folly. It's foolishness to say about that we are millions of years old and that we came from fish or from apes. It's completely ridiculous, and there's absolutely no evidence for it. It's just speculation on dates, on fossils, and all the earliest scientists did believe in God, and that's why they wanted to figure out how things happened and that. They weren't against God. It's only the ones today, the modern scientists, that are against God, trying to replace him with their theories and ideas. And if the world politicians and all those people in charge would acknowledge God, we'd have a very different world today. Those that have their own wisdom, instead of trusting and asking for God for wisdom, they become unteachable. They are stubborn, and they're like Pharaoh, unteachable. They want their way and nobody else's, and they want to influence the world through that. They refuse instruction and they are unteachable.